Welcome to Around and Around, the OCD Circle. My name is Elizabeth, and I have been living with obsessive compulsive disorder for over 60 years. I am not a therapist or a member of the medical community. I am just an ordinary person like yourself who will be sharing my thoughts and experiences with you, with the hope that you will feel less alone. If you don't have OCD, I hope you will learn some information that will help you understand this disorder better. Some of the topics I will be covering may be triggering for you as a listener. If so, I apologize in advance. Since I don't know what your triggers are, please refer to the episode summary in the show notes before listening to each episode. If at any time you feel like hurting yourself or ending your life, please call the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 if you are in the United States. It is open 24 hours a day, and you will be connected with the nearest crisis center to receive immediate counseling and local mental health referrals. Now, on to today's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to Around and Around the OCD Circle podcast. I want to remind you that this podcast now has a Facebook page where we can discuss OCD with others who live with this disorder daily. The link is below in the show notes, along with my other social media links. Today, I welcome back Jaimi McPeek in a 3-part conversation about self-love. You may remember Jaimi in previous episodes where she shared her OCD story. She is the founder of the mental health awareness movement Flip of a Coin. I encourage you to go back and listen to her story if you have not already done so. During today's conversation, Jaimi and I discussed the following self-love topics: understanding self-love, cultivating a positive self-image, setting healthy boundaries, and practicing self-compassion. You can reach out to Jaimi at one of her social media accounts, which are listed in today's show notes. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and that it helps you feel less alone. Welcome back, Jaimi.
Hi, good to be back.
You said you wanted to come back on and talk about a very important topic, self-love.
Yes, very
So
important.
I think the very first thing we probably need to do is define what self-love is. And some people get self-love confused with the term self-esteem. So we probably need to talk about what the difference is.
Yeah, well, first, self-love basically just means having a high regard for your own well-being and your own happiness. It means taking care of your own needs, listening to your body, and not sacrificing your well-being to please others. So really, self-love is just what it sounds like. It is loving and caring for your own self, your happiness, your well-being. And it's very interesting how people view self-esteem versus self-love, but they are quite different. Self-esteem is an evaluation, whereas self-love is more of an attitude and a lifestyle. So love combines both feeling and action. So self-love is very healthy. It's not, some people think that it's a selfish thing, or if you're doing things for yourself, just for yourself, that's selfish. And that's not what it is. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But self-esteem focuses on evaluating yourself, usually based on achievements and external feedback, whereas self-love delves deeper into acceptance of oneself, a genuine sense of compassion and kindness that comes from within yourself, not from external events. Self-esteem can fluctuate just based on your external circumstances, whereas self-love comes from within. And no matter what's going on the outside, you have that self-love towards yourself.
And you were talking last time about how embracing self-love has helped you overcome your OCD on so many levels.
Oh my gosh.
I remember you talking about that, how that has really been one of the main things that has helped you get through all that you've been through.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the final epiphany for me, was learning. First came self-acceptance. That was the first thing that came.
Hmm.
And then following the acceptance came the love.
Hmm.
Because you can't love yourself if you don't accept yourself.
Hmm.
So the self-acceptance came first, and that allowed me to branch off into all the avenues that is self-love. Because self-love is a very big topic. It's your happiness, your well-being. It's a lot of things.
Hmm. And I think it's hard to love others when you don't love yourself. I mean,
Absolutely.
truly love others.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
say you love others, but to actually show love to others the correct way, you know.
Yeah, and it also makes relationships, whether it's romantic, platonic, friendships, family relationships, harder, because when you don't love yourself and you're putting your value, your self-esteem, your worth into someone else, and then they break that some way, whether it's a romantic relationship, you get broken up, or friendships fall apart, or whatever it is, then that can absolutely devastate someone who doesn't have that own self-love when you're putting all that into someone else.
Mhm. I'm just gonna go, we have a list. We have an outline. We're just gonna go down the outline, and the next part was cultivating a positive self-image, embracing and accepting your flaws. Now, you
Mhm.
don't have any flaws, do you, Jamie?
I I have so many. So many. But that's exactly what's awesome about this topic, is that embracing and accepting it. And I don't even know if you want to like view it as flaws. That's just it's part of you. And the whole journey of self-love is, like we just said, accepting your flaws, but especially if it's something. Perfect example. I am not the tidiest person around. I actually am quite messy. And that is something I don't like about myself very much. It's something that I accept. Okay. I just, for some reason, I can't put things back after I use them. Like, for some reason, it has to be like a chore, like, hey, put this back. And that annoys me. It's like, why can't I just put that back? So, but again, I've accepted that, and I'm working towards being better at it. And S- so, like, is it a flaw? Yeah, it's something that, I could work on. And that's the whole awesome journey with self love, is that you're constantly working on yourself and you're working towards being a better version of yourself. There's not really an end game with self love. You always have room to grow in it. So, going back to just embracing it and accepting your flaws, I don't really know if you should view them as flaws, just view them as things that you can work on among yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking to put more of a positive spin on it, where, if you were, quote, perfect, which no one is, but you wouldn't have anything to work on. And,
Yeah, exactly.
you
Exactly.
know, sometimes I'm a procrastinator for the most
Mhm.
part. Not really big, not as much as I used to be. But sometimes that can be a positive thing, because if I do something right away, if I would have waited, taken some time, the outcome might have been better.
Mhm.
So, in that case, my, procrastination kind of helped me. I'm like you. I don't think they should be, the term flaw is kind of misleading there.
Yeah, because
But
even like how I delved in a little bit with the last episode that I was on, my OCD, is it technically a quote unquote flaw? Yeah, it's an imperfection of a chemical imbalance in my brain, but it has allowed me to be extremely driven, extremely motivated, extremely determined, extremely self-sufficient. I don't need other people to say, "Hey, get this done," because believe me, I'm already 10 steps ahead of that. So it has definitely allowed me to be as successful as I am, and allowed me to pursue as many avenues as I pursued at such a young age. So yeah, there definitely absolutely can be huge positive spins on it. And, some people who have paranoia, and are always, looking around and making sure that they're, safe and stuff, as draining as that can be, that can also be a huge benefit. We live in a crazy world right now, and it's always good to be extra careful about your surroundings. And I'd rather be over vigilant than be oblivious. And so there's always, like you said, you can definitely spin it and make it a positive. Or if it's something like a trait like mine with the tidiness that I don't really care to, like I want to fix it, then it's a journey, it's a learning curve, it's a growing experience. So absolutely you can turn these quote unquote flaws into positives.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm thinking about, you know, this is kind of off topic, but not really. I'm thinking about a certain soldier who was burned in the war, and he comes back and his face is just, deformed,
Hmm.
and people could stare and point, laugh, whatever. But instead, he turned that around and, laughed along with them, made jokes,
Hmm.
to where he developed relationships with people who probably were scared to even approach him because of his, what quote deformity,
Hmm.
and taught them a lot in return, that he didn't care the way he looked, you know, it was what was on the inside that mattered. And, that just kind of reminded me of that
Yeah, and that's
to
that's a
put some
beautiful comparison.
to put some humor into it, to laugh at yourself, not be so serious and not dwell on it, you know.
Hmm.
And I know I have a really, really bad habit of interrupting people. And I probably did that on our last interview. I've been trying really hard. And I do that because it's like my mouth is working faster than my brain. And so I don't want to forget something that I want to say. So I just start spitting it out and the other person hasn't finished, and I just have gotten to where I just kind of laugh at it and tell people this is me, and try to stop me, but this is part of my personality, and
Hmm.
I'm working on it. But I think actually this
Exactly.
podcast has helped me a lot with that. So
Yeah, well, that's great. I don't remember you interrupting me during the last one.
I do it
So,
on
but
my I have a YouTube channel and I do it a lot. So I've been practicing. I do it in personal conversations all the time, and it
mhm.
drives my wife crazy.
Oh, no.
But it's like if I can't spit it out, I'll forget
Mhm.
it. If I don't have something
Mhm.
to write down, I'll just forget it. So it's not that
Yeah.
I think my thoughts are more important than the other person. It's just I don't want to lose my train of thought.
Yeah. No,
So
I get you. I get you. Yeah, but I think that's a great point though, is learning to find humility,
mhm,
and yeah, laughing at yourself, and not actually laughing at yourself in a good way, not in a bad way. And that kind of segues into one thing that I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot in today's episode is, at least for me, what's helped me a lot is yoga. And one thing that's really cool about yoga is that it's not about the perfect shape or creating the perfect shape with your body or the pose or whatnot. It's about how you move, how you get into it, how you get out of it, the breath that you bring with it, the mindset that you bring. But one of the cool things with yoga, and especially me being a dancer, like we talked about in the last episode, and having this whole sense of perfectionism, yoga has really helped me kind of let that go, because in yoga there's some balancing postures that can be really hard. But as a dancer, I have high expectations of myself. I should be able to balance for forever. So I used to get really frustrated with myself whenever I would fall out of a yoga pose. I'd be like, come on, like, this is easy, we should be able to do this. But now, if I fall out, I just kind of laugh. I bring the humility into it and just kind of laugh and be like, well, I guess that didn't work out right now. Let's try it again, and just kind of, you just flip it around, like you said, put a positive spin. It's
yeah,
definitely setting that it's definitely setting that in your mind as it's not a big deal. It really isn't. It's okay. It's fine.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
I wanted to remind you what you said in my last episode, and by the way, those who are listening right now, if you haven't heard Jamie's previous conversation with me, please go back. It was in 2 parts, so please go back and listen to it. It was really amazing. But in that episode, you laughed at yourself because you said that you are not a neat freak and that you always make a joke with yourself that you wish that the contamination part of OCD was part of what you had gotten and you didn't get that. And you were making a joke, like you weren't, you know, making fun of people who have contamination OCD. You were just laughing at yourself. And that was a great way to look at it, that I'm messy and, you know,
Yep. Did not get that part of it for sure.
okay, this one next topic is about setting healthy boundaries. And I used to have a really hard time with this. Recognizing and establishing personal boundaries and saying no without guilt and I can't say that word, prioritizing
Prioritizing.
self-care. Okay, that had too many syllables. So, have you had or do you have difficulty with setting personal boundaries or
Yes. Yes, I do, and that stems from the OCD of, again, wanting to do it all. So a lot of, and I think we did talk about this a little bit in the last episode, but I want to do everything at once. I love performing. I love working with the environment. I love being creative and, using art. I love going to the gym and working out. I love staying busy. I love staying busy. And because of that, and because of my OCD, wanting to do everything all at once, I have gone through several cycles of over overexerting myself and saying yes to too many things and putting way too many things on my plate, and then realizing that I don't even have a fork to eat it with, like it's just there.
Mhm.
And it has caused many burnouts and many times where gosh, I mean, I'm never the kind of person who will back out of a commitment, but it may cause a few breakdowns along the way because I'm like, I really overwhelmed myself. But I have been getting much better at that. I've been getting much better at realizing when to say no and when to establish more of a healthy boundary. And it's not easy. It
No, it is
definitely,
not.
yeah, it's not easy. And I'm still definitely working on it because there's still, if I get, let's say, an opportunity and I really want to do it, my first inkling is always yes. Yes, give it to me. Give it to me. And that's always my first inkling. And it really, still to this day, which is a huge improvement from where I was, because again, it used to just be yes, put it on, put it on, put it on, put it on until I had no more room. But now I'm at the point where again, my initial impulse is to say yes, but I have to stop myself and I have to really look at my calendar, look at what I have coming up, look at the commitments I already have, and really just rationally, and it's not just with myself. I'll talk it over with my fiance or my mom, or, again, if you have friends that you can talk about with someone too, because that's also helpful to get an outsider's point of view. But I have to look at it and be like, does this opportunity, will it benefit me enough to add this extra opportunity, or will this just ultimately be a stressor or something that I just won't have time for and can't give my all to? So it's something that I'm still working on, but I've definitely dealt a lot with it, and it's something now that I've gotten much better at learning how to weigh the pros and cons. And if it's something that won't benefit me immensely and it's going to add a lot of stress, a lot of time, a lot of commitment, then it's not worth doing. And learning to say no without guilt, yeah, that can be very hard. That can definitely be very, very hard. But the more you learn about self-love, which again is having that high regard of your well-being, your mental, your physical, your emotional well-being, the easier saying no will get, because you know that that is best for you in your current state. And another example that I'm going to use is that I talked about last episode, is that I would constantly be going, and I would never stop until I burnt out or broke down, kind of like what I just said. But one thing I've gotten really good at, actually, and I'm very proud of myself, is actually listening to my body. So I'm the kind of person who I would work out every single day, 7 days a week, and basically get to the point where I would not work out unless I was physically sick. So then, because my body never had a chance to recover, because I was always working I would just get sick, and then I would have to recover. And the past few months, especially the past 6 months or so, I've really been learning how to listen to my body. And if I planned on going to the gym, let's say today, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym today, but I woke up and I was super sore, I have learned to tell myself, no, we're not going to the gym. We're going to stay home. We're going to rest. We're going to recover. We're going to eat well. We're going to drink well. And then we'll see how we're feeling tomorrow. And if I'm still super sore tomorrow, then looks like we get another rest day. But so I've definitely gotten a lot better with that. And that's kind of how you have to view it. And again, when your body, and this includes your mind, if you have an inkling about something, or your body, when your body's trying to tell you something, they call it, a sixth sense or a gut feeling. They call it that for a reason. And it's really important to not just dismiss those. So really listening to yourself, whether that's internal or an external feeling, like just like gut feeling, or you don't feel good about something, then it's okay to say no. And you don't have to justify yourself for saying no. That's another thing. You don't have to always justify why you're saying no. You can just say no. This is not in my best interest right now. And again, a lot easier said than done, but that is all a part of the self-love and self-healing and self-acceptance process.
Yeah, I spread myself way too thin. The caregiver in me. I just want to take care of everybody. Everything.
Mhm.
I just want to take care of everybody, and to the point to where I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
You know.
And that goes
So,
back to the first thing that you said was, if you don't love yourself,
mhm,
how can you love others? And it's the
that's
same
right.
thing with care. If you're not caring for yourself, then you can't properly care for others. It all goes
Right.
hand in hand.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so important to realize that self-love is not being selfish. It's actually being selfless. You're getting to a place where you can be there for other people.
Yeah, because a couple of weeks ago I fell. I had a really bad fall. And as I was lying there on the concrete in total pain, only thing I could think about is you have to get up and nothing can be broken because you have all these things to do.
Mhm.
You know, I didn't even once tell myself, oh my goodness, I'm hurting. My wrist may be broken. My knees may be broken. It was just always, I got to get up and I got to go do.
Mhm.
So this can't be happening to me.
Mhm.
I have a lot to
Yeah.
work on still.
Yeah. No, and that's okay. That's okay. I understand that mindset, and
Hmm.
that's okay. I'm glad you're
Um,
are you okay? Did
I
you hurt anything?
it was incredible. It was just I was very, very lucky.
Good.
I should have
Good.
broken both knees and a wrist, and I hit my head.
Wow.
Um,
Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm
so
very glad you're okay.
it was a big fall, and I was just laying there going, I'm just one fall away from surgery, physical therapy, you know, a cast,
Yeah.
So when you're
Yeah.
my age, I mean, I should have broken something, but it's
Well,
really
I'm glad that you're okay.
thank you.
Of course.
The next bullet point is practicing self compassion, the role of self compassion in fostering self love. learning to forgive yourself and let go of self-judgment,
Mhm.
beating
Yeah.
yourself up, not
Mhm.
forgiving yourself for things that you've done. You can only say I'm sorry so many times. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have a lot to say, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to start, which is why I'm just like sitting here like staring at the floor. um, yeah. So, gosh, this is such a heavy topic. I'm gonna start with something that has helped me a lot, and then I'm gonna kind of go off that. But forgiving yourself and letting go of self judgment can probably be one of the hardest things you do on the self love journey because we are our own worst critics, for sure. And gosh, I mean, we think about things about ourselves that no one else would even think about, and it's
Unless you're a
amazing
narcissist.
unless you're a narcissist. Yeah, yeah. But and one thing that has really helped me are affirmations. And for anyone who doesn't know, affirmations are really just a series of statements that you say either out loud or in your mind. I like to say them out loud, but they're just a series of statements. And literally, one of the affirmations I say is, I let go of what no longer serves me. That is a statement that I say almost every day. And it really helps. And I'm not saying you're just going to say it and it's like, wow, everything's gone. That's not how it works. Like you have to you say it. You, even if you don't believe it, you say it. I like to imagine that whatever I'm worrying about that day or that moment, that I'm literally letting it go off my shoulders. I like to put a visual to it. And I've been practicing affirmations now for a little over a year. I started January of last year, and I've been doing them every day. Might give or take a few days. There's a few days I didn't do them because I was sick or on vacation, but I've been doing them mainly every day. And I have noticed such a huge change in my thinking because it's not so much, and I'm sorry if I'm going off topic a little bit, but this is really important. But it's not so much that you say the affirmation. Let's say one of the affirmations is, I choose to be happy. It's not so much that you're just going to magically become happy, because that's not how it works. How it works, though, is that you change your perspective on things over time by saying these things to yourself. Even if you don't believe them at first, you do start to believe them, and you start to notice a shift in your thinking. And what I mean by that is, for example, one morning I was dog walking. It was like 9:30 in the morning. It was early for me, at least. Not That's not even early for me anymore, but at the time it was, and I did not feel like being up that early. And I was dog walking. I had said my affirmations before I dog walked, and was just kind of I wasn't really feeling happy or sad. I was just kind of there, just dog walking, just chilling. And this guy was also dog walking on the opposite side of me, and he was coming towards me. And as we passed each other, he just waved and said, "Hi, how are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good. How are you?" He's like, "I'm good, and I hope that you have a great day." And I said, "Thank you." And that made me so happy. And if that would have happened to me, let's say a year and a half ago, back before I did affirmations, it would have just been like, okay, like cool, like good talk. But after doing affirmations, I thought to myself, like, wow, this guy could have easily just passed me and just looked at me, didn't look at me, and just walked right by. But he actually took time, albeit just a few seconds, but still, he took time and he took energy to say, "I hope that you have a good rest of your day." And that was really nice. And so, something that I would have previously not even batted an eye at, I am now realizing, like, that was really nice and that made me feel really good. And that's kind of what affirmations do is they kind of just, you change your perspective on things. And for example, another one of the affirmations I say is, I choose to look for the good that's around me. And that was a good. That was a guy who was just being very nice. He wasn't after anything. He was just like, I hope you have a good day. And so tying back into self-judgment and forgiving yourself, a- again, for me, affirmations have been so huge because it's not like I just say, I'm going to let go of what no longer serves me and it's gone, but it's just a matter of allow allowing my perspective to be a little bit different, and allowing the things that do bother me not to take up as much time and energy. Because again, I have OCD. Of course, I'm going to be judgmental about myself, and the perfectionism and the body dysmorphia. Of course, it's going to come up, but it's not letting it completely consume me like it used to. I'm able now to have some wiggle room and be able to accept that this is how I think, and be able to forgive myself for how I think and move on with it. So again, it's not so much that it's just getting rid of it, but it's just a healthier way of dealing with it.
Mhm.
And again, what for you, whether that's affirmations or whether that's meditation or yoga or whatever that is for you, it's going to look different for everybody. But it's just that, again, it's that approach of being willing to let go, and being willing to let go of being so hard on yourself, not letting go of the thought altogether, because again, that may not always be the case, but letting go of how much time and how much energy and how much you want to give this thought. Because at the end of the day, your time is valuable. We're never going to get this second back again. So we're all chasing time till the end. So how are you going to spend this time? So again,
That's
it's a
right.
whole it's a mind perspective shift
Mhm.
is really what it comes down to. And for me, that's what affirmations have taught me. But whatever it is that helps you, at the end of the day, it comes down to your perspective and your attitude and your mindset.
Mhm. I had a conversation with Janaea on a previous episode, and she gave out some OCD advocate Instagram accounts, and they have affirmations coming out every day that she reads and writes down. And I was wondering, where do you get your affirmations from? Do you just Google them?
Yeah, there's actually someone on YouTube I really like to listen to. His name is Bob Baker,
Hmm.
and he has some really nice affirmations that I really like to listen to. So nowadays I listen to him really every day for a very long time, and then I started getting comfortable with doing affirmations more on my own, and kind of take again using him as an inspiration, but then putting my own spin on things. And then I started creating my own affirmations. And now actually what I do is I do affirmations with my support group, my mental health support group, Flip of a Coin support group on Facebook. And it is like a mix of things inspired by him and my own spin on things. And yeah, that's kind of how it sprouted. I will every now and then, if I'm doing a specific theme of affirmations, look up affirmation like like literally just the other day I was looking up law of attraction affirmations. And again, if there's like an affirmation that I look up and I'm not a and the wording isn't doing it for me, you can like change the wording up to however it's going to best serve you,
Hmm.
do it. But yeah, but Google's a great resource, YouTube's a great resource. And like I said, the more you listen to them, the more you'll be able to create them as well.
Hmm. I used to put them on my mirror on a stick note.
Hmm.
In the past few years, I put them in my planner. I concentrate on 5 different ones, and I have them written in my planner, and I have a checkoff box that I read them out loud every day, and then I change them monthly. Unless there was one that was just working so well, I'd repeat it. But
Hmm.
that's how I did it. I put it in my planner that every day I would read my affirmations. I would just check it off,
That's
and
great. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes I'd have a different theme. Each month might be a different theme of affirmations. So, yeah, affirmations are great.
They really are. And again, it may take a while for you to notice anything. I mean, it took me a good few months before I started noticing the good around me. Like, again, like that guy saying, I hope you have a great day. So don't give up on them. Definitely don't give up on them, because it takes time. It definitely does.
Please join me next Monday morning when Jaimi and I will continue our conversation about self-love. I encourage you to share this podcast with others. Everyone, not just those with OCD, may find the topic of self-love useful in their lives. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast to tell your OCD story, please contact me at one of my social media accounts below. Until next Monday, remember that I am in your corner. Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, while not curable, can be managed, and I am living proof of that. I hope you all have a fantastic week. See you next time.